All right, folks, we're back again at Mad Lib 2019 with Swarvy. How you doing?
Chilling, man.
Good to hear. So, just to start off, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask a bit about Rashi. He passed us earlier this week. Were there any lessons that he imparted to you? Anything that you remember specifically about him?
Oh man, there's a lot of things. He was full of a lot of wisdom. Man, it's hard to think of like specific certain things that he would have passed down because there were so many different things he put me on.
Definitely.
He put me on MTV True Life first time. First time I saw that, he put MTV True Life on. We were watching some crazy shit on there. He put me on crazy reggae music. He schooled me on a lot of music shit, a lot of hip hop shit, a lot of dub shit. Yeah, I mean, shit. Rest in peace, man. I mean, like he always tried to. He had a lot of wisdom about like just knowing my worth and a lot of little tips about moving around with the music shit.
Yeah.
Just being an artist.
Definitely.
Artist life.
Definitely. I saw you posted on your IG the other day this picture of like all your credits since moving to LA.
Yeah.
And like it's a clear steady pickup in like the last 3 years. Like 17, 18, 19
Word.
to me at least by my
I didn't know.
estimation.
That's crazy.
So what's it been like working your way through the scene, becoming more recognized, more respected? What's that process been like for you?
It's just a lot of work. I've just been working a lot. I've been learning a lot about my own values and what's important to me when I work with the artists and what I want to get out of things too as well with collaborations and but it's been beautiful, man. LA's showed a lot of love. A lot of the community, very welcoming. It's been cool. But yeah, I just been working a lot. When I moved there, I was working very compulsively, and I was before I moved too. So just learning about balance, like trying to balance my life with music.
I mean, originally from Philly, we should say, in the Philadelphia area.
Right.
And I know you're from an incredibly musical family. So how did growing up around people who all either played instruments, had nice record collections, how did that affect your interaction with music early on?
My dad and my brother put me on mostly. Like my dad played guitar. They pushed me to take piano lessons. My brother's a crazy classical piano player, and he put me on a ton of music too. So they just have interesting tastes, Like I heard Dilla for the first time from my brother, like putting me on to like the Roots and Far Side. My dad's record collection was very like different. It'd be like bebop music and like King Crimson, Captain Beefheart, and like classical shit too. It was like all over the place. So I just heard a lot.
And I feel like a lot of people don't know this about you maybe, but you're a producer, you're an engineer, you're a multi-instrumentalist. You play how many instruments?
I just play the rhythm section instruments, so like bass guitar, piano, drums. It's like the main shit I play.
And you replay samples as well. I saw you kind of disclosed on Twitter that in my, I think one of the Maxo songs was a
Everything
replay.
on the Maxo record was replayed. The samples were replayed, except for one song they were able to clear it. But I guess it was just too expensive to clear everything, so we ended up, the whole record was made with samples, and then we went back and we had to reconstruct it. But it ended up being crazy. So all the joints I produced, which was like half the record, I replayed those. Had a couple help some vocalists, and I mixed that record too.
Yeah, you were really intimately involved. Have you liked the way that Little Big Man has kind of blown up? I mean, it's a Def Jam release, which is a big step, of course.
Yeah.
But have you liked the reception it's gotten?
People are loving the record. I mean, it feels like I feel like it got to a lot of ears, and people are appreciating it for what it is. It's just like an honest record, So it's cool. I was working with Maxo for a lot of that, really closely. But yeah, Maxo's vision was like really clear. He knew what he wanted with that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he knows what he's talking about for sure.
Yeah, he did. He engineered that.
Yeah. So, just to move to some more of your music, the newest Tokyo record, Face. To Kyle, thank you. But when I was listening to it, I kind of got a lot of, I thought one of the themes was like kind of the mundanity of life sometimes, how it's wake up, repeat, How do you deal with that, especially with like a creative field, quote unquote, even though everything's really creative, but doing it as a daily practice, how does that affect the way you create, really?
It's interesting. It changes because I used to, I quit all the jobs that I had, so I just do music full time now, and it changes because you try to find time to do it when you're working. When you're working a job, you're like excited to go there. Yeah. It almost builds up this energy where you just have to get it out. Whereas now I wake up, I don't have to go anywhere unless it's something for music, and it's just, your discipline taps in. You know what I mean? Your discipline has to tap in. You got to figure out how to balance your life too, because you're not on a regular schedule. So it's a lot of things. It's interesting, but I'm just learning as I go. You know what I mean? But I'm not necessarily good at it yet. I don't feel like, you know what I mean? But
So
I'm working on it.
If you're not good yet, then it's gonna be scary when you're good.
Right, yeah.
But I was seeing how you promoted it on a Twitter bit, and one of the tweets that caught my eye was that you said it was reverse propaganda. I don't know if you're the one who tweeted that, but if so, what are you propagandizing against, maybe?
Oh man, the way music gets weaponized and used for different purposes. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like taking drugs, fucking bitches, and fucking whatever, killing people. You know what I mean? It's like such a norm in like radio rap music and shit, which I feel like is kind of shifting a little bit. But so like basically all that, you know what I mean? And just a lot of the, you know, a lot of systematic shit, like. You know, like if you're in the hood, like it's harder to get like healthier food and politics, the way that shit, like
social conditioning.
We just have propaganda like everywhere, basically, like commercials, social media, everything.
Definitely.
You know.
I know that, I don't know if you're still doing this, but I know you used to teach lessons in LA and in Philly. What has teaching taught you? Because I always think that teachers learn so much from trying to instruct others and be effective in that way.
Yeah, I still teach. I teach mostly like production lessons. It's just people come to me for video chat lessons all around the world. It's taught me a lot, and it's still changing. It's growing. But when I first started, it taught me a lot about like how to communicate to musicians and how to communicate to people that aren't musicians, like what music is and how to learn that shit. So it did a lot of that, and then now these days it just keeps me tapped into a lot of what a lot of young kids are up to. You know what I mean? Some crazy young kids just, you know, they're going wild.
So what's exciting you musically nowadays?
It's hard to say. Anything that's just like, you know, I like a lot of honesty. I like a lot of interesting textures. I like when people are very thoughtful with what they say, and you know, I like beautiful chords, beautiful harmonies, beautiful textures. Pretty much the same shit that has always excited me with music. Just trying to find those moments and those feelings again. You know.
Speaking of beautiful music, Steve was performing right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, since he's not here, I can try to ask the inside scoop. I'm sure you've heard some of the stuff of his that's coming, and I'm sure you've been working on it. What has that process been like? Because I know you guys are close collaborators.
Well, the next record is our record together, so it's the follow-up for 2009.
Nice.
It's crazy. He's very creative. We're both deeper in our styles at this point than we were when we made the first record. There's a lot of trust. Like, we trust each other on like weird choices. So like he'll have a certain direction, and I don't really understand it yet, but I trust him, and we go there and it works. And then likewise the other way. Like I might have an idea, and he's just like, all right, try it. We just go all the way. So it just ends up taking you to a really different place, you know. But it sounds crazy. It's done. The record sounds crazy.
It's done?
Yeah, it's done.
All right.
I just finished the mix the other day.
Amazing. So, Antianxiety, it was a solo project. A lot of people kind of saw it as your coming out record almost.
Word.
Especially like in a few of the write-ups I saw about it. What was the process of making that like?
That record was about kind of just like highlighting like what my experience trying to pursue music in LA was. So it to me, like, it takes little pieces of the community. It was originally supposed to be just an instrumental beat tape, but I started hearing all these people, and all the homies that I heard on it actually were able to, you know, sometimes you send rappers like, or vocalists like packs of beats and they pick whatever works for them. I had this whole record sequenced already, instrumental, and then I heard different people and just plugged them in, and they were all down. So it's just kind of crazy the way it worked out. Definitely just a reflection of just what my life has been like. There's like tracks from students, there's tracks from, it just feels like, to me, bouncing around what the LA community was to me, you know what I mean?
Definitely. Just to wrap up,
Yeah.
any last words you want to say, people? Anything you're excited about in the world of music, otherwise, outside of music? Anything?
I've been watching a lot of movies lately.
What kinds?
Anything.
Anything?
I think just being on planes, watching movies, I've just been having so much fun, like, and also just like doing video stuff too, but like just being on planes, watching movies probably, and like if it can get me from the beginning to the end, I'm usually happy. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird shit. I was really fucking with, honestly, Detective Pikachu.
Wow.
That was my shit.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure I've heard good things
I
about
fucked with it. I just like not knowing anything about a movie and then going in and then just getting in there and just seeing that. But yeah, any kind of artistry has been, inspiring. Anybody that takes their craft seriously, like,
Definitely.
comedians, chefs, whatever, like any kind of artistry,
Yeah, definitely. And now, like I said earlier, one of the words that people use to describe you most is genius. And I think it's because you're one of those guys who just does everything. So how does it feel to have that kind of respect already at this age?
It's beautiful, man. We've been doing the music for a minute, so it's cool to see people like all the people that I looked up to and that I meet. It's cool being able to connect with them and just see, we're the same. We just we're all on the same page. We're doing the same thing. So yeah, it's cool to hear that from a lot of people that I consider geniuses.
Definitely. All right, it was a pleasure talking to you. Appreciate
you too,
it.
bro. Appreciate it.